Alright, this car has been a battle. Been fighting low oil pressure, and today you're gonna fix that. Let me get on what we're doing today. So inside your RX7 on the front cover, there's a little O-ring. That O-ring is nearly responsible for most of your oil pressure. I'm gonna insert a video of how low my oil pressure is getting. Alright, so guys, it's reading oil pressure on the gauge now. It's reading like around 30 psi at idle. And my idle right now is around 1400. Definitely questionable. And as you can see, that is why I'm going to have to tear apart the front of this car. And a lot of people, when you read this online, they say you can't do this with the engine in the car. Yes, you can. I've done it twice, and I will be doing it again and actually showing people how to service the front cover O-ring on your FC RX7 or pretty much any 13B. You have to be very, very careful. So the first thing before you even consider doing this is, well, is your clutch hydraulics good? If your clutch pedal sticks to the ground a lot, so let me get in the car. And like, if your clutch pedal isn't, returning and doing what a clutch pedal should, then maybe you shouldn't be doing this job and attend to doing your clutch master, clutch slave, and figuring that out, because you're gonna at least have this clutch pedal depressed in for at least an hour or two to do this job correctly. And this avoids the front stack of the engine from getting completely destroyed. So we're going to create something to prop this up during the job, so we can have the clutch pedal fully depressed while we're working and doing this O-ring job. So let me go get the parts and show you what I got, and I'll explain to you what you'll need to do this job properly. All right, we're here in my room real quick. Peep the sim rig. If you guys ever want to play a Seto, hit me up. Just got that. But things I ordered a new thermostat because, well, the shipping was so much that I was like, well, I need a new thermostat anyways because my car is running too cool. But these two pieces right here. So I have an early series 4 block, so I'm just gonna need the O-ring, and you don't need a front cover gasket. You can just use RTV. This is the O-ring, this $5 O-ring that nearly cost me my whole engine. Now what this white piece is a Teflon O-ring. I don't need this, but I actually bought this to demonstrate to people if you'll need it or not. And if you're very unsure, like if your engine's been rebuilt or it's a reman motor, I recommend buying both of these. It's only like $10 altogether, but you might not need this. So when we do the job, this is for series 5s and later models. This Teflon ring holds the O-ring in place, but these are the two pieces we'll need for the job. And the job is a little tedious, but this is very, very important. So let's get this started, and we're gonna just tear apart the whole front, and I'll show you how to go about that. All right, so I got all my tools. I'm gonna stuff that away there, but essentially what you're gonna do, if you have a clutch fan like me, you're gonna take the clutch fan off, the shroud, you're gonna take the whole water pump housing off, meaning that you're gonna have to drop the belts. And then for me, I'm just gonna have to like remove things like my oil drain, the oil cooler line. I have all AN fittings, so it's pretty easy to do that. As you can see, my oil cooler lines. And then we have to get underneath the car and then remove the bolts that go to the oil pan to the front cover. So in that particular sequence, and then there's the 19mm front pulley bolt. And before you ever loosen this bolt up, this is where the clutch pedal has to be depressed. So before we do that, we'll do that. But that's the order. Plan this all in my head. We'll go from there. I'm gonna pull off the clutch fan, and I'll be right back and show you everything. So as you guys can see in my quick little time lapse, got the clutch fan off, the shroud, the CAS, that took all under 10 minutes. Pretty straightforward. It has me really thinking if I should really go E-fans just to have some clearance for having an air filter on my turbo, because I have been running no filter. But next up, we're going to take off the water filter housing. Now, if you guys are taking off the crank angle sensor, just know that you're going to have to retime your motor again, which is pretty easy. It literally takes 5 minutes if you have like a standalone, or if not less. So just take that into consideration. Now, as I said, next up on our journey here, we'll be taking off the water pump housing. I believe it's like 4 bolts. I'll put a picture in if I can. I can't remember which ones were what, but they were the studs, not the bolts. So all the studs are what you're taking out. So let's see how good my memory is. So if you see, I got like the pulley off of the water pump. I really have failed to consider the alternator is gonna have to come off to do this. So luckily I have a circuit breaker here that shuts off all the power, because you don't want to fry any of your electronics. Trust me, I've done it before. And then pull the alternator off. So I'm gonna do that because I forget that the alternator is on the pulley thingy. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Alright, so as you can see, the alternator and everything is pretty much off. I took the whole water pump housing off, as I showed you. And if you're curious, there's only like 2 bolts that hold the water pump housing together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 5 have to come off. And I just left the radiator hoses in there. I'll get fresh coolant, it's whatever. Made a little bit of a mess, screw it. Next up is, well, we have access to the whole front cover here, which is great. But before we pull anything off, we have to do 2 things. Loosen the motor mounts, because we got to jack up the motor. I'm gonna organize some of this stuff and just make sure the bolts don't go missing. So just give me 1 moment and I'll be right back. All right, next step of the whole thing is get your car on jack stand. So I just did. I'm gonna go to the store and go get some Allen wrenches and some RTV to complete the rest of this job. So I'll quickly do that and go grab something to eat. It's cold as hell, but at least we got it all squared away. And yeah, all right, so as you can see, jacked up from the trans, and then I have access to the oil pan bolts that connect to the front cover. I already took them out. They're all 10mm heads, so it's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, six of them. Once they come out, then technically I can go from the top, take the front cover bolts off, and then the main bolt. So I'm gonna lower that back down and get to business. Alright, so as you can see, everything's nearly apart. I had to take off my oil drain, which was whatever, using a H6. So took off my oil drain, if I can remember where I put that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts for the front cover. All the front cover bolts are off. Now the only thing holding it together is this 19 mil. Now you cannot take this off unless the clutch pedal is fully depressed. So that is, oh, I forgot a bolt. So a total of 6. It's freezing cold. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna prop up something to get this clutch pedal fully depressed, and then I can finally pull this off. All right, so this is as sketchy as it gets, but took a jack handle, and now let's just pray nothing bad happens. All right, so now the radiator is out. Now, it's an 18 mil, wonderful. All right. All right. All right. Got the main bolt out. I'm gonna pull this. Just gotta be careful. Yeah, so got the front cover off. I think I figured out why I don't have oil pressure. This is the front cover O-ring. Shouldn't look like that. If your car ever has low oil pressure, I am warning you. Look into this, because this $5 part can cost you almost your whole motor. And no one wants to have that conversation. But I swear, this is the damn thing that nearly just killed my motor. So as you can see, I'm kind of running out of sunlight. I'm gonna square everything away. I got the front cover cleaned up with a razor blade, so is that side. I forgot that I didn't get RTV, which I just screwed myself over with. Super cold, but I'm gonna put everything back together in next clip. Might be tomorrow. We see if this fixes all my issues. So yeah, freaking cold. I don't know how cold it is. I don't have my Apple Watch on, but yeah, I'm kind of shocked. Not really, but 2,000 miles on that O-ring. I think I'll put a video of how I'm gonna install it. You kind of want to place the O-ring in with RTV so it stays still and doesn't move. And then there's a torque spec from the FSM that I'm gonna follow. This is to prevent this from happening again and kind of torquing it down in a star sequence just to see if that helps, but we'll see. Great, got the RTV applied like so. Need to do the same thing in the car on the oil pan side. Slap it in. I'll be right back. So what I did is I put RTV around the pan and RTV around the O-ring so it can stick and doesn't fall out. Now I'm gonna place it in, and then yeah, Right, front cover is on. The first thing I did immediately is put this main pulley bolt on. The longer the clutch pedal's pressed in, the more paranoid I get. One thing I forgot to say is that there's that keyway. Line it up before you even put the front cover or any of this stuff on. You need to make sure the keyway is lined up properly. Now I'm gonna, as you can see, the RTV and everything, it's all there. And then just be careful and delicate and just do some light hammer taps, and then bam. It will place it. There's 2 dowels for the front cover, so don't forget that. Just line them up first and just be delicate. You don't want to squish the O-ring. Now I'm just going to tighten up all the front cover bolts and get those in, and bam. So I'll be right back. Right, so it's all back together. I took that little jack handle out. Now when you put this all together, I'm going to put the torque screen on the screen for this. You kind of want to do it in a star pattern, so I started from like here. So there's a total of 6 bolts, so I went from here to here to here to here to here to here. This is just so the front cover can go on evenly and you don't squish that O-ring. I'll try to just put everything all back together. As I said, the torque spec for that will be on the screen, and I'll actually put all the torque specs for the important stuff regarding this all on the screen, so you guys know. Like this is a 90 foot-pounds, you know, a couple things that should be useful to certain people. It is very important to kind of just put this stuff to all the specs. So yeah, and I'll also put the CAS back on so it's not exposed, because I don't think I'm gonna finish the rest of this job tonight. I'll just do the rest of it in the morning and film the rest. All right, back working on the car. Pulled out the thermostat while I was putting everything together. Look at that, it's stuck open.
Definitely very open.
That is why my car was running way too cool. Anyways, we cleaned out the thermostat, put the motor mounts in. Pretty much almost done. Just, what else do I got? I guess all that's left is really the clutch fan and doing this thermostat. And start it up, time the motor again, put a timing light on it, and yeah. The vehicle is on the ground, all tied together. Well, moment of truth. It might start up, I don't know. It's like not timed. Ugh. Battery is on. Watch the car have like 0 power.
That was crazy, bro. I can't believe it.
Why was it vibrating so aggressively? Shit.
Little 2-4 swerving in that 2-door. Look like a princess when I'm hopping out the door. I'm so kawaii, I'm so gothic. When I die, put me in a Hello Kitty coffin. Little 2-4 swerving in that 2-door. Look like a princess when I'm hopping out the door.